right, let's get back to the government's hate speech laws with Labor's anti-Semitism bill passing the House today. The Liberals backed the legislation after securing a number of amendments, but the Nationals, well, they agreed in the party room to abstain from voting in the lower house. They're expected to move amendments to the bill in the Senate. When I say the Nationals abstained from voting, that's not entirely true. There was a notable exception, and he joins me now. Michael McCormack, welcome. Let me ask you, why did you vote for the bill when all your colleagues decided to abstain?
Well, my colleagues decided to abstain because they're relying on the amendments being put forward by Bridget McKenzie, by Susan McDonald, Ross Cadell and Matt Canavan in the Senate tonight for and on behalf of our party and for regional Australia. But I voted for the bill, even though I was uncomfortable with it, even though it's been rushed legislation, even though I wasn't given the opportunity to debate the bill on the floor of the House because it was essentially gagged by a management motion. But I voted for it because it's the only bill before the Parliament at the moment which is going to be able to outlaw Hizb ut-Tahrir and neo-Nazi groups. And if we're talking about radical Islam, Islamist jihadists, if we're talking about Jew haters, they're two organisations, the National Socialist Network and Hizb ut-Tahrir, who need to be outlawed. People need to be deported. And if for nothing else, I couldn't in all good conscience not vote again or vote against that bill because I think those groups need to be named, shamed, deported, banned.
I think everyone watching would absolutely agree with you, but what about concerns that this legislation could be used not to target Islamic extremists but political opponents?
A lot of good work was done by Michaelia Cash and by Paul Scarr, who came to our meetings today. We've had 8 meetings, the Nationals, already since last Friday. We had 4 today. We went through it line by line. There are a lot of concessions given by the government, as there should have been. It was poorly drafted legislation. But again, I say, if we are talking about Islamic jihadists and anti-Jews, and we want to do something about this anti-Semitism, then that's why I supported the bill. Reluctantly, but that's why I supported the bill. But the trouble too, James, is that nothing is going to be achieved if the judiciary continues to allow these violent, hate-spewing protests to continue on the steps of the Opera House, on Sydney Harbour Bridge. And we saw Belinda Rigg, Justice Belinda Rigg, go against Premier Chris Minns and perhaps just as importantly, Police Commissioner Mal Lanyon, who begged her not to, begged the court system in New South Wales not to allow that protest to go ahead, and yet it did. And they say they're peaceful protests, they are not, because every protest, they're spitting at police, they're throwing rocks and bottles and anything they can lay their hands on at police. And any time they do that, it's an attack on Australia's freedoms. It's an attack on Australia's traditions. It's an attack on Australia. And I won't stand for that. These people have to be deported. These people have to be banned. And the only way at the moment in the federal parliament to allow anything of that sort was through the hate speech bill.
Well, I guess we'll find out as soon as Tony Burke gets these powers where his heart is. We'll see if he actually uses them to address what we all, I think, agree is the real problem in our country. Now, the Coalition voted against Labor's tougher gun control laws, which tighten background checks and create the possibility of a national buyback scheme. The PM insists the laws are not targeting farmers or lawful gun owners. Do you agree?
No, I don't agree. I think what we're doing is targeting law-abiding citizens, farmers, hunters, collectors, recreational shooters, sporting enthusiasts who happen to need guns to be able to go and do what they've done in a law-abiding way. It's not the farmers and those other people who are going to go on Bondi and shoot people who happen to be Jews. They don't have murder in their minds and they don't have hatred in their hearts. They are law-abiding, good citizens of Australia, and that is why I very much stood up for them today. This isn't like 1996 and Port Arthur. This is not like this at all. And let me tell you, Anthony Albanese is no John Howard or Tim Fisher.
Ain't that the truth? Before I let you go, Michael, I have to ask you about your good mate Barnaby Joyce. Went over to One Nation, doing quite well in the polls.
Yeah. Well, that poll the other day was 1,224 people out of, 19 million voters, 19.9 million voters. I worked it out. It's 0.00682% of the eligible voting public. Now,
would you say that about?
If you don't like,
would you say that about Newspoll if it was giving a good result to the Nationals?
Oh, look, I've never really believed in polls. If you believed in polls, The Voice would be in power now. If you enacted now, if you believed in polls, Scott Morrison and I wouldn't have won the 2019 election, but we did. And we had betting agencies pay out on Labor before the 2019 election because they thought it was a fait accompli. I mean, if you don't like a poll, wait for it. There'll be another one next week or the week after. So many people have often said to me that they've never even been polled. So, look, One Nation's a protest group. It's not a party of government. And I have to say the Liberals and Nationals are. And given what's happened and given the dissatisfaction with the government, I think when people get in that voting booth, when they get that ballot paper in front of them, when they see a local champion with a Liberal or Nationals beside them, I think they'll do the right thing in 2028.
I'm hearing what you're saying. I'm just thinking, and I reckon other people will be thinking it too. The Coalition want to be a party of government, but are being outpolled by a protest party, as many are describing it. So some work ahead for the Coalition, but appreciate the work you're doing. Michael McCormack, thanks for joining me tonight.